Hello, everyone. It's Pam Esquire, also known as Your Law Intellect. And today we're going to discuss all things defamation. We're going to analyze, we're going to commentate, and remember, we discuss everything from the neighborhood to Hollywood. You are my law intellect, so I do need your opinions. Please like, please share. Don't forget to comment and subscribe, and let all your friends and family know that the Law Intellect is on. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking around. As I said in the intro, we will be discussing defamation today. Now, I know that in the headlines, one of the main topics have been Cardi B suing Tasha K for defamation, and Cardi B actually won her lawsuit in front of a jury. A jury awarded her nice amounts of money, but that's not who we're here to discuss today. There is another celebrity in the news regarding defamation, and that is Mariah Carey. Yes, everyone, Mariah Carey has been sued by her brother, Morgan Carey, for some alleged defamatory statements that Mariah Carey wrote in a book that came out around September, October-ish of 2020. So this case was filed in New York, and the parties to this lawsuit were Mariah Carey, Macmillan Publishing, Henry Holding Company, Michaela Davis, and Andy Cohen. And what Mariah Carey's brother is alleging are 8 counts of defamation, which includes defamation per se, basically saying some of the statements are defamatory on its face, and then also 8 counts of injurious falsehood with special damages. So, I didn't really know who Mariah Carey's brother was until this lawsuit, but he gave us a little bit of background about himself in the lawsuit before he gets into the allegations he has against his sister Mariah. So, he tells us that he is the older brother by 10 years. He was born with cerebral palsy, grand mal and petite mal epilepsy, and a left leg which was several inches shorter than the right. He later overcame his disabilities, and during his childhood he briefly stayed in the Sagamore Children's Psychiatric Center. Since then, Morgan says that he's worked at iconic nightclubs such as Studio 54. He's a personal trainer for celebrities. He also developed Korean musical acts with his wife. And he's written 2 screenplays, one of which has been optioned for a film. And so these screenplays becomes important because what he's saying is because Mariah wrote these defamatory statements in her book, allegedly, that these statements have prevented him from getting work. So he's saying that he was shopping one of his films around and he was in negotiation, but because of Mariah Carey's statements in her book and her influence, that people didn't want to work with him anymore. So therefore, this lawsuit ensued. So, like I said, there were 8 or 9 statements that were alleged, and I'm just going to read a couple of them. A lot of these did get thrown out, but I'm going to read a couple of them. It says, the first one is, quote, "It took 12 cops to pull my brother and father apart. The big bodies of men, all entangled like a swirling hurricane, crashed loudly into the living room. I was a little girl with very few memories of a big brother who protected me. More often, I felt I had to protect myself from him. And sometimes I would find myself protecting my mother from him, too. This, of course, was not the first vicious fight between my father and brother. For as long as I could remember, their relationship had been a war zone. But it was the first time the troops had been called in. It was also the first time I witnessed the possibility that a member of my family could brutally die in front of my eyes, or that I could die too. I wasn't yet 4. That was the first statement he alleged was defamatory. Here's another statement. This was the second one. Suddenly there was a loud, sharp noise like an actual gunshot. My brother had pushed my mother with such force that her body slammed into the wall, making a loud cracking noise. I saw her frame go rigid. For a moment she appeared frozen against the wall, pinned up like a painting, her feet lifted several inches off the ground. Next thing I knew, he was totally limp, as if her bones had melted, folding into the floor. It was a split second. It was an eternity. My eyes were still fixed in place. Only now I was looking at my mother collapsed in a crumbled pile on the floor. My brother stomped out and slammed the door, shaking the house one last time, and sped off in his car. Now, there are a few more statements where she's basically, in her book, allegedly saying that her brother was pretty violent, is what she's alleging in the book. So Mariah Carey had the option when she got served with this complaint, whether she answer it line by line and admit, deny, or however she wants to answer it, or she can say, hey, based on the face of this complaint, there is no cause of action. We need to dismiss this. So she, along with the other people on the pleading, they all decided to file a motion to dismiss this claim. And if you read through the judge's opinion, who had just came out maybe a couple of weeks ago, the court's opinion was basically that, yeah, there were some statements that were that could be deemed defamatory if it went before a trier of facts. It could be deemed as defamatory. But on some of those counts, you cannot show malice and you cannot show any special damages. So even though, hey, a couple of these may appear to be defamatory in front of a jury, or they can conclude that it's defamatory, you still have not proved all of the elements. But there were a couple of statements that could be deemed as defamation per se. And that basically means that on its face, that a jury can just believe that it is defamation. And there are 4 areas that have been, I think, across every state that is considered defamation per se. And that would be someone being accused of a loathsome disease, someone being accused of a crime, those type of defamatory statements that affect your business, and accusing a woman of being unchaste. Those have been going on for decades as being considered defamatory on its face. So let's go over the statements that the judge said I am going to allow the jury to hear. Now, mind you, there were about 8 counts of defamation, and I believe 6 of them were thrown out according to this order from the court. But what the judge said was, in the actual order or opinion, I think it was the 6th statement that she had in here. And it says, quote, he was in the downtown New York scene in the late 80s. He worked in some of the happiest bars and clubs. He was strikingly handsome and occasionally worked as a model. He was well known and well liked. He directly supplied the beautiful people with their powdered party favors. He was diabolically charismatic. Basically, this sounds like it can be inferred from any trier of fact that you were trying to call him a drug dealer. So therefore, this needs to go before a jury, and the jury decides whether this is defamation. The other statement that the judge did not throw out, or the court did not throw out, is, quote, at one point we were all hanging out together at the house and Morgan proceeded to get spectacularly inebriated. When he disappeared for a bit, my mother turned directly to her usual dramatics. Where's Morgan? She bellowed. I can't find Morgan. Mind you, Morgan was 30-something grown man, but still my mother was in a self-induced panic. I can't find Morgan. She called his hotel room repeatedly, but there was no answer. So what did she do? She called the cops. My mother called the cops in Aspen, Colorado to find my non-white, sometimes drug dealing, been in the system, drunk ass brother. The cops came to the hotel and it was a whole big drama. She asked them to break down his hotel room, behind which it turned out Morgan was lying naked, butt up, passed out on the bed. The news spread like wildfire throughout the town, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was the last time Morgan and cop caller mom were invited to spend Christmas with me in Aspen. I really don't want to lie for Christmas, particularly not the cops. Now, the judge said, basically, yeah, we're going to let the jury decide whether that is going to be considered defamatory or not. So there we have it. Now, all the rest of the individuals got dismissed out of the case, but Miss Mariah Carey, there's a couple of statements that it appears that there's a question as to whether that was really defamatory. And so the judge said, we're going to let a jury decide that. And you need to answer the complaint. So now we'll await her answer that she had to do within 20 days. So it should be due now. And we will make sure that we follow up and that we stay up on this story. Again, my name is Pam Esquire, and I am your law intellect. If you have not done so, please subscribe, please like, please share. Tell everyone that on this channel, we discuss all things legal from the neighborhood to Hollywood. You are my law intellects, and I need your comments. Thank you so much again for watching this video. Talk at you soon.